Attention, Atlanta Braves fan. If you genuinely have the chop on in your blood and followed every single pitch last season, tell me honestly, were you expecting the front office to sit on their hands, cross-armed, after that disappointment? If your answer is yes, you don't know the history of this franchise, much less the ambition of those who expect victory every time. It's time to forget the stumbles, the injuries, and the inconsistency that cost us the division. Frustration has turned into capitalist fury, and the news that just exploded across the baseball world is an earthquake. The kind of move we haven't seen in Atlanta for years, and one that redefines what it means to be a National League powerhouse. Forget the small talk about a tight payroll. President Terry McGuirk has cracked the safe open and dropped the bomb. The Atlanta Braves are not just looking to fill holes, we are looking to dominate. The goal, stated loud and clear to the shareholders, is to place us among the top 5 teams with the highest payroll in all of Major League Baseball. You heard that correctly? Top 5. This is not speculation. This is a confirmed plan of attack. To fulfill this elite promise, the plan is to add roughly $50 million to the player budget. $50 million that will make Atlanta, according to reports from Bob Nightingale, one of the most aggressive and dangerous teams this entire offseason. We are no longer talking about modest signings for the bullpen or the back end of the rotation. We are talking about heavy investment, a roar that the free agent market will hear loud and clear. The new manager, Walt Weiss, arrived to extract the best from our core, but the front office is preparing a shockwave of talent to give him the pieces that were missing. And where is all this money going? Where did inconsistency hit us the hardest? I am talking, of course, about the shortstop position. Ha-Seong Kim opted out, and the hole at the position is glaring, crying out for immediate offensive impact. Our shortstop last season produced only 3 home runs and a laughable 0.550 OPS, numbers that do not belong on a team aiming for the World Series and whose trademark is the power of the chop-on offense. That is an unacceptable gap. And that is why, with the safe cracked open, the name boiling in the elite rumors, the player who could be the missing piece to elevate our lineup back to the stratosphere is him. Bo Bichette. The target is set, the money is on the table, and the Atlanta Braves are going all in to reclaim division hegemony. Attention, Braves country, because what is coming from the front office is a roar that echoes throughout Major League Baseball and needs to be addressed urgently on the field. The disappointment of last season stuck in our throats, but if Atlanta's management learned one thing, it's that the history of this franchise demands victory, not just competitiveness. We expect glory. We demand domination of the National League, East Division. And now, finally, the organization is cracking open the safe to ensure that the chop-on is not just a rallying cry, but a guarantee of success. The rumors, or rather the statements, are compelling and place the Atlanta Braves in a new financial stratosphere. President Terry McGuirk is not messing around, as he confirmed to shareholders a financial action plan that is aggressive, detailed, and, above all, necessary. The goal? To rank among the top 5 teams in MLB payroll. Stop and think about what that means. We are talking about adding roughly $50 million to the player budget. This is not an adjustment. It is a revolution in the team's buying power. After a season that began with stratospheric expectations and ended with the frustration of injuries and annoying inconsistency, management is admitting the mistake, and more importantly, acting with the ferocity the market demands. The message from Bob Nightingale of USA Today is the exact mirror of this urgency. The Braves will be one of the most aggressive teams in the free agent market. They have the core, the base talent that most teams envy, and now, with the addition of that $50 million, they have the capital to acquire the elite pieces that transform a good team into an unbeatable champion. Last season's inconsistency, the gaps that emerged with inevitable roster turnover, all of it needs to be stopped with immediate impact. The shift to Walt Weiss as manager is a clear sign that a new cycle is beginning, but a manager, no matter how good, can only extract the maximum if he has the human material to work with. And that is exactly where the capital injection makes all the difference. The primary and most exciting focus is on the shortstop position. The vacuum left by the departure of Ha-seong Kim, who opted out of his stay, created a glaring offensive need in the middle infield. The truth must be told. The shortstop performance in 2025 was unacceptable for a team with World Series ambitions. Just 3 home runs and a pitiful 0.550 OPS at that position throughout the season are numbers that beg for a surgical correction. And the surgery, according to Mark Feinsand of MLB.com, has a heavy name attached: Bo Bichette. The mere mention of that name should already put all NL East rivals on high alert. Bichette is an all-star caliber shortstop, a hitter who delivers a high average, who generates doubles, who has power, and, crucially, who has the offensive consistency that the current roster lacks. Bichette is not just a stopgap. He is an offensive engine, someone who improves every hitter before and after him in the lineup. The acquisition of a player with that impact would be definitive proof that McGurk and the front office are willing to go to the absolute limit to regain absolute division dominance. This market aggressiveness, however, is more than just filling a hole. It is a long-term strategic vision for the infield, and the context of Ozzie Albies is vital to understanding it. Albies has a $7 million contract option for 2027. Although he is a central piece of the team's DNA, the flexibility this option creates, coupled with Bichette's potential arrival, allows the Braves to think about the infield composition not just for next season, but for the next 5 years. Bringing in Bichette solves the immediate shortstop problem with a massive offensive upgrade, and, simultaneously, opens the door for future reallocations should the organization decide to exercise Albies' option or seek a different path at second base. That is the intelligence behind the money being injected. It is not an impulsive expenditure. It is an investment in championships. The disappointing season was a detour that will not be repeated. Injuries and inconsistency will now be fought with depth and elite talent, acquired with the power of a reopened safe. The $50 million is the promise that there will be no more excuses. The Atlanta Braves have the most enviable division history of the last era, and the chop-on offense cannot afford to have weaknesses in central positions. The front office did its part, promising the capital to bring in the talent. Now, the urgency is absolute. The free agent market needs to be approached with the speed of a 98-mile-per-hour fastball. Bichette, or any other star who can fill the offensive gap, needs to wear the Atlanta uniform. The time for waiting is over. The time for domination is back. Chops on. The chop on is back on the attack. The $50 million declaration of war on the NL East. Chop on. What President Terry McGurk just promised is not a simple budget increase. It is a total declaration of war on the National League, and specifically, the NL East. We are talking about adding $50 million to the payroll, which projects the Atlanta Braves into the top 5 richest teams in Major League Baseball, a level that is our rightful place by historical right and expectation of victory. After a season that left a bitter taste, a season of inconsistency and unfulfilled expectations, this financial move is a sign that management is just as dissatisfied as the fans with anything short of the World Series. It's not just about spending money. It's about investing in the culture of domination we always expect from the Braves. Last year was, let's be honest, disappointing. A roster with so much talent, with such a strong core, cannot afford to stumble due to injuries and, worse, due to offensive inconsistency in key positions. When you start the year with expectations of being the best team in the league and end without the usual luster, the pressure for changes is inevitable. And management, thankfully, is responding with market aggressiveness. The arrival of Walt Weiss as manager is the first step to extracting the maximum from this talent, but the new skipper needs replacement parts and, above all, immediate upgrades to raise the team's performance ceiling. And this is where the $50 million comes in, transforming the Braves into one of the most aggressive teams in this free agent market, exactly where we should be. This injection of capital means the Braves are ready to contend for the big names, the all-stars who can change the postseason landscape. We are ready to fight with the large market teams and show that in the NL East, the hegemony belongs to us. This promise from McGurk to the shareholders is not gossip. It is a business strategy aimed at ensuring the team returns to winning consecutive divisions, a history we value deeply. The first and most urgent gap on the roster, highlighted by the news itself, is the shortstop position. Ha-Seong Kim's option to play elsewhere has opened a crater in the infield, and the numbers are embarrassing for a team with World Series aspirations. Only 3 home runs and a pitiful 0.5550 OPS at the position in 2025. This is unacceptable. The chop-on offense is known for its power, its ability to dominate opposing. Pitching, and a production hole like that is dead weight in any elite lineup. That's why the Bo Bichette rumor is so exciting and makes perfect strategic sense. Bichette is not just a gap filler, he is an offensive superstar. He is a slugger who solves the problem of power and consistency at the plate immediately. Mark Feinsand of MLB.com hit the nail on the head by saying Bichette would be a major offensive upgrade at shortstop. He brings the kind of impact that changes the dynamic of an atalanta entire lineup, protecting the hitters around him and boosting the number of runs batted in. His signing wouldn't just be a move, it would be an earthquake in the NL East. In addition to the immediate impact, the move for Bichette demonstrates smart, long-term vision. The Braves have to consider Ozzie Albies' contract option for 2027, a second baseman who has been a pillar, but whose contractual situation opens up room for future flexibility. Acquiring an all-star talent like Bichette now secures an anchor for the infield for years to come, regardless of what happens with Albies in a year or two. It is a play that solidifies the team's core, ensuring the World Series window remains open and vibrant. The rumors and the $50 million promise indicate that the Braves will not wait. The approach will be aggressive, seeking strategic trades or high-end free agent contracts. With clear gaps and available capital, the front office has an obligation to act quickly. The time for inconsistency is over. The chop-on must sound louder than ever next season, and the path to that involves ensuring the roster is, as they say in the news, all set, or better yet, with the best talent available. The goal is domination, and $50 million is the price we are willing to pay for it. The urgency is total. We await the announcements. It's what I always say. The National League East Division is ours. There's no debate. This explosive offense, this batting power, with the chop-on in full force, is going to take us straight to the World Series. Victory is not just an expectation, it is an obligation for a team of our caliber. So, Winning Nation, did you like the analysis? Subscribe to the channel now, hit the bell so you don't miss the next video, and of course, leave your opinion in the comments. What is the real impact of this news? I want to read your perspective. Thanks, and chop on.